Hey everyone, Luminous Plasma here. Today we're going to be installing a reverse camera on this 2011 Scion XB Release Series 8.0. And we're going to be using a flush mounted camera, so it's going to be a lot nicer than just some like one that's protruding out or one that's like angled downwards. It's going to be flush against the vehicle. It's going to look really nice and clean. And on the end here we got an RCA connector and a power jack. So it's going to be super simple and basic install right here. So the plan for the reverse camera at first was to put it right in the dead center of this hatch cover right here, or whatever you want to call it, this plastic panel right here. And anyways, on my last XB, we tried to actually mount like an angled one right here. First of all, it was off-centered and our radio couldn't, or our head unit couldn't recenter it. So don't really try to mount it off-center. This is like gonna be the perfect install. But anyways, removing this panel right here, it completely destroys the plastic. Like, first of all, there's screws going either up or down into this thing, and it's threaded with plastic. So first of all, you could just destroy the threads, and then second of all, they're like pop clips in here. I think at least 5 for like another one kind of off center. And anyways, you could snap those clean off from this plastic, because those plastic pop clips or whatever are also mounted onto this thing, and the mounts are also plastic. And basically at the end of the day, my old one was just flapping around and stuff, and all the foam sealing was like all destroyed, and it's kind of like watertight. Like, there's no dirt, or I'm assuming there's not, but it's like this. I'm just gonna leave it be. And the plan is we're gonna put it right here. Now you're probably like, well, that's rounded, how are you gonna do that? Well, if you look at like the minimal like wiggle room, like it doesn't wobble that much, especially up to the top right here. It doesn't move that much. So I'm thinking we're gonna put it right here, and it'll already be angled at a slight angle instead of like straight on. Because if I mounted it here straight on, then like the inner camera, it's not angled down, it's pointing straight out. Like, it would make sense if the inner camera was pointing down inside of a housing that's pointing straight out, but to get the perfect reverse camera, it has to be angled down slightly, and I think we're going to utilize this point right here. So basically the first piece that has to come out is this plastic panel covering the rear of the hatch and all the electronics in there and wires. And this is the access point we're going to use. You can either use a metal, screwdriver, because obviously screwdrivers are metal, but if you didn't know this, that metal warps and damages and dents and cracks plastic. So I'm actually going to be attempting to use a spudger first and see if that works, and hopefully it doesn't damage it, and then I can just start popping all the pop clips and follow it along the border, and hopefully that all goes well. Alright, so I stand corrected. You can actually use your bare hands to pry this off. And anyways, I just stuck my fingers in there and wedged them in. And basically, you just follow along the edge of the plastic trim, and you just keep pulling down on all these clips. And that's basically it. Super simple. And I'll just get over to that side real quick. Yeah, it's super easy. Just follow along the edge, and I got one more right here. There you go. As you can see, one of these little clips popped off, but that's okay. Here is a closer look at the clip I'm talking about, this pop clip thing. If you get lucky, they'll just, well, first of all, you'll get lucky if they all stay on, but you'll be lucky if it just falls out like this, where you can just slide it in like that. But if one gets stuck in here like this one, there's no real good way to take it out. You can use pliers, you can use anything really, and it's pretty much just gonna crack along the edges or the sides. There's no real way to save that, but overall, all these other clips that are still on here will be definitely sufficient for keeping this back on. It's not gonna go anywhere, so let's continue with that. We gotta make sure that where we're drilling right here, that there's no electronics or wires behind it, so let's take a look under there. So here's the hatch button, and as you can see, there's no electronics or wiring right there that would really interfere. That's like a piece of foam that held this whole thing on when they riveted it in place or whatever. I don't know how they got this unibody thing, but there's an outer and inner skin. Anyways, don't worry about that foam. So yes, we are safe to drill right here. This is the curve that's on the outside. And I guess just in case, we can disconnect that. And yep, we can start drilling right now. By the way, this is a great time to do your conversion to LEDs for license plate LEDs, since you have easy access right here. As you can see, that you just twist and pull out. But if this one, like over here, is like stuck, you can use a pair of pliers. Probably disconnect this first so you don't pinch any wires. And anyways, just clamp onto this and twist, if I can get it. Boom, that easy. All right, so here's the LEDs when they're on, and as you can see, this one appears to be dead, but if we just take it out and flip the direction, it should be fine, hopefully. Epic. All right, so there they are, and I can just put them back in and twist, and they should be good to go. Yeah, I have actually not seen any of my XBs with LEDs before. These actually look really nice. I highly recommend it. This is a great time to do it. And wow, I'm just impressed with the look on that. That's really nice, makes it look a lot more modern, especially with my LED taillights now. Really epic, 10 out of 10. All right, so here's how I found the middle of my hatch. I just got a ruler and straight up went 15 in the middle, and that pretty much lines up with it. So let's get to drilling. All right, I have a feeling a lot of machinists are probably going to get triggered in the comment section about my methods here, about not starting with a pilot hole or not starting with a center punch or anything. I got WD-40, I got a drill. Let's do this. So line it up. Also had to fail the temp off camera with a smaller drill bit, not designed for milling. Lube it up, let's go. Okay, so after a lot of trial and error, a lot of off-camera work, we finally got the hole. As you can see, I kind of slipped up there, tore a little section out. It is still in there, so I'm actually going to try again off-camera, of course, to bend that piece back in place. If not, I could try to seal it up just so it's watertight and perfect. And I'll show you the inside right here. I can just take the rest of the scraps out right there, and it should be good to go. All right, so now for the moment of truth. I'll do something about that later. This is just a test fit. I'll fix it maybe at another point off camera or in the future, just to make sure it's waterproof. But we're just test fitting the hole right now. This is the most important part, and to see if my measurements are right and if it's flush. So here we go. Oh man, give me a second to wedge it in there. I kid you not, it just snapped right into place. It's perfect. Look at that. It's like no gap. So I think my what I'm planning on doing for this is, use some flex glue or some flex something, just some watertight seal around that. It'll be perfect. Obviously flex glue, of course, just flex glue. It's so easy. Black flex glue right around there just makes the center. It'll be perfect. So it's a perfect install. Couldn't have gone better except for, slipping the hole saw or whatever. But other than that, 10 out of 10, let's continue with the wiring. As you can see, there is a noticeable gap back there. We'll be sealing properly with flex glue. In the meantime, this gives us some wiggle room to literally just wiggle it, shift it from side to side, make sure it's not upside down or anything, since it is a circular camera. And anyways, yep, time for the wiring. I have found a way to do this factory without trying to feed it through there and make it come out here and trying to splice the wire and stuff. I wanted to go the factory route because on this is the whole bundle, as I said before, that spreads out to everything, and it has its own channel. It all comes out nicely right there. So I actually found a way to mirror it on this side, and I'm going to be threading the RCA connector through this copper wire I was able to fish through there. And then I'm going to buy another grommet just like this and put it right there and mirror it. And it's going to contain this RCA connector as well as this bundle of cable, which is a future project. So stay tuned for that. And I'm going to be running it right out here. And it's going to be using the same factory hole. I'm going to try to find the same part number or styling of that grommet. And I'm going to put it right there and just drill a new hole. It's going to be really simple. So here's the next progress update. I found it easier when threading to actually just loop it back through this inner hole right here, because somewhere in this unibody hatch or whatever, there's like folds of metal that keep getting caught, and it's like kind of like scratching on the cable. So I found out if I just thread closer to a straighter line than being more off-centered with this one, that I can just like loop it around here, and then once I feed it all through, then I'll just yank it through here. But as I said in the last clip, I was gonna drill through here. I actually decided to snake another piece of copper from the third brake light area over to here. So once I get all this threaded out this hole, I'm gonna then wrap around the RCA connector around this thing, around this cable, and pull it through here to the third brake light where I can actually feel this grommet. So what I'm gonna do, and so I don't have to drill a hole, is use the existing grommet here, and I already have the headliner down, and boom, it's done. I don't need to use this one because obviously it's too full, and I can run along this side. It has an empty channel. This is the perfect installation, flawless through here, easy. It's amazing. Here's a pro tip. You want to remove the C-pillar covers on either side, as well as the back handles, and all these clips on the top, all of these, at least 4 of them, or at least 3 back here, and then the 2 in the middle. And this allows the headliner to go really low, so you can get up in this connector. And when you're trying to remove this bottom grommet, there are 2 tabs on either side that you need to press in on. I just used a pair of scissors or just some pointy object. And anyways, that should be very helpful into releasing this, so you can easily thread the wires through this rubber piece. So here's a quick recap of what we've done so far. We have taken our RCA connector and the wire going along with it, channeled it through the entire hatch, made it come out through the third brake light, then tucked it in and made it run through the grommet. And now we're ready to tuck that in through here, and I've already loosened the headliner so we can continue throughout the interior wiring. But along with that RCA connector, I've also threaded this mystery plug, which is a positive and negative wire that's leading to here. And I also have taken a green and red wire that I'm going to be using for positive and negative, and I'm going to put quick disconnect terminals on this too, and button those up and tuck them away in there. And we'll continue on with the reverse camera. So here's how I wired the reverse camera. So I got the long RCA cable through the hatch, came out here. I used the red wire, I trimmed it down, I put quick disconnects on it. Then I took the DC barrel jack, trimmed it down, so I got the connection there. So it runs power along the entire RCA connector. And then I got video to the camera and along the RCA connector, and that's about it. So now I actually have my test cable going down to the RCA. And as you can see, the camera works still, and I'm powering the other end of the RCA with positive energy. What am I saying? And anyways, yeah, as you can see, it works and it's fully functional. So now I'm gonna button everything up and finally move on to the wiring on the left-hand side of the car. All right, so here's the current progress on the wiring, and I already put all the plastic trim back. Everything's rebuilt in the hatch area, and I have the wire all tucked up underneath this weather stripping here, and I have the actual wire coming in from up between the headliner and the C-pillar cover. So I'm just having all the wires go under here and then channeling them through this plastic, and we're gonna work our way to the driver's seat. All right, just one quick pro tip again. If you see this long red wire, that one right there going straight up, that is the wire you can tap into for reverse. Like say if you put your car into reverse, over here is the signal. So if you don't want to switch, if you don't want a manual switch, you can actually use a wire tap and tap into that wire and send the signal to your head unit to tell it that, oh, it's in reverse. Let's automatically turn on the camera. So it is, again, this wire going straight up. All right, so this is the final layout for the wiring for the reverse camera. As you can see, I have it channeled along the edge there as it leads up and under the dash. And as I make my way to the middle here, I did have to remove a lot of the plastic around this area to make way for the RCA cabling, but I put most of it back, as you can see. And then here is the head unit. Now there are a lot of wires here, as you can see, and I do have a few quick disconnects here. One of these is for that RCA connector so we can actually power the rear camera. I did not use it from an accessory because my stereo had a cable specifically designed for a reverse camera to use that. And then there is actually on this Sony XAV AX1000, this purple and white cable has another quick disconnect for powering the reverse camera. So instead of tapping in to the reverse light like I originally planned in the back, under the car, for my last clip also mentioned this, that you could go under there and tap into it, which I actually did. So instead of using a manual override switch to switch it on whenever I felt like it, now I can use it when I put it into reverse, and it's gonna have the lines, but then also on the display, when I press the rear view camera or whatever, the backup camera, there won't be any lines, but I can just turn it on whenever I want. Instead of having it powered to the reverse, then it would only like turn on with this, and the on-screen button would not work. So this is the perfect setup, designed from factory how it should have been from Scion, and designed how it should have been from factory with this Sony AX or XAV AX1000. This is hopefully this has been helpful, and I'm gonna put everything back together and then do a test video or test drive of it when everything's just all nice and neat again. So see you in a quick second. All right, so we are back in the RS8. Everything is nice and buttoned up. As you can see, we actually have a new black panel here, and this is actually a genuine part from an RS5 XB. And anyways, let's just hop it into reverse. So as soon as we hit reverse, we got the lines right there. And yeah, it's an automatic thing. Like, you just put it straight into reverse and it auto turns on, just like how you expect it to. And anyways, another cool thing you can do is with the on-screen display, if you just tap reverse, it turns on and you can just monitor it anywhere you want in park. Once again, just showing you it's in park. And it's just so cool. You can actually use the in-screen interface, and it's just really nice, and it just works. And that's the best thing, it just works. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully it wasn't too chaotic and over the place and everywhere. But yeah, more videos are coming. I'm finally done with college, at least for this semester. Obviously it's December now, so I'm just so happy I'm finally gonna have a life again. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys in the next video.